What's up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist here with
Gersh1.
And we're back at it to answer your questions in another episode of For the Greater War. And this time, Gersh, let them know what it is.
So I have a question from Alexander Schneider. Now, before we read his question, this is a series where we answer the question of you, the viewer. So if you have a question, comment down below with question in front of your question, and we will answer it next week. But he says, or he asks, as awesome as Warhammer 40k is there anything that you guys find ridiculous, unnecessary, or straight stupid in the lore? Yeah, I think there's quite a bit of things that we find very ridiculous about Warhammer 40k. The first thing that I can think of is how, in the lore, Tyranids are this supreme apex predator, devastating entire planetary systems. Yet in the game, they suck.
Yeah, they're really bad.
To the point where they don't fit at all to the lore.
Yeah. It's like you got this really big buff guy, and he's like, it's all just muscle, like he's really weak. Like he can't even pick up a chair.
Yep.
But one of the other dumb things in 40k is the whole, I guess, like the way the models are, because sometimes they're not proportionate to how a human body should be. Or a Space Marine body should be.
Like Gilliman.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. Another thing is Centurion Armor. It's like Space Marine armor inside of a Space Marine armor. It's like, I mean, they look badass, don't get me wrong, but you have to be inside of your armor to pilot it. Like, why can't you just be, I don't know, it doesn't make much sense to me.
Another thing too, since we talked about Gilliman, I think it's ridiculous that Gilliman is back, but he's not doing anything to change the Imperium other than just on the battlefield.
Right.
And even on the battlefield, he's just battling. Like he's just fighting. He's not even like, you know, okay, all my different chapters, you know, unite or do this or do that, but no, he's just fighting.
It's like, hey, let me go kick Chaos's butt. Let me fight my Primarch brother Magnus.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah. And the other thing I never quite got is, what are those things called? Cherubs?
Oh, yeah. Cherubims.
Cherubims, yeah. It's like, okay, you're gothic, I get it, but flying robot babies?
Yeah. They're supposed to represent muses from, like, back in the day. And the human form.
Okay, I'll go with it for now.
Next question.
But before that, let us know what you guys think is the dumbest thing you've heard in 40k, whether it's a certain battle, tabletop-wise, lore-wise, whatever.
What grinds your gears? Alright, next question comes from Thomas Thatcher. I could be wrong, but wasn't there a few clones of Ferrus Manus created in an attempt to convert him to chaos? Are there any remaining clones? Were there?
Yes, they were clones. I believe Fabius Bile made them, but they were all either too weak, they were killed. Overall, they were just not as great as the original.
What I find extremely weird, though, is that the Iron Hands still believe he's alive.
It's like, dude, he was decapitated.
His head got chopped off. They've even seen his head on Abaddon's ship, and then in possession by Iron Warrior, Iron Warrior.
I think Iron Warriors have it now.
Yeah, so that's just weird.
Mm-hmm. Just an FYI, Horus used to talk to his head. Like he was like, "Oh, I wish I had generals that were as awesome as you." It is weird.
Yeah.
Next one is by Titus. Oh, Titus. What's the best way to die?
For the Emperor!
Yes, for the greater good.
No.
For the greater... Wow. Die for us, guys. But when I say die, I mean like tie-dye your shirts.
With our faces in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Jaegerbomb. Is there a new lore to do a video about the mercenaries in 40k? I can create a video for mercenaries in 40k. Yeah, thanks for that suggestion. And no, there's not a video yet.
This one's by Parker Maestera. Do we know if there are any races in the Milky Way galaxy that have the capacity to travel to other galaxies? And if so, which races? The Tyranids do not count since they came from outside the galaxy.
Yes, the old ones, they actually left.
Mm-hmm.
They lost the war in heaven, and they were like, well, we're out of here, so they left.
Deuces.
Your boy, Dav180.
Oh.
Does any wildlife exist on Terra?
Yeah, I think so, right?
Kinda.
Has it been all like Terramore?
A lot of the animals that you see today are completely gone. Like wolves, even back in 30K, they're extinct. Things like that. There are some animals though. Trees and stuff, not so much either, because Terra itself is just one giant city. But you know, there might be gardens in this city.
Gardens.
Next question.
This was by Lost Worlds. How hard is Space Marine training? It's gotta be hard, because I mean...
Super hard.
It's like they're super humans. They're not humans, but they're like superhumans. Like,
yeah, so
I don't know how else to describe it.
In terms of training, once you're in Astarte, you drill every single day. You have firing practice, you have close combat practice, and then you have prayer pretty much in between.
Mm-hmm.
We have a 40 facts on the daily life of a Space Marine. Check that video out. Now, as far as neophytes go, their training is extremely rigorous, and it all depends on what chapter they're being born or they're being created or sent into.
Mm-hmm.
But it goes anywhere from being thrown out into the wild to fend for yourself with nothing but a blade, to day in day out being psychologically tested, like a bunch of the things to weed out the weak.
That's right.
So yeah.
Billy Davis III. Will there ever be an Orc war boss strong enough to take on a Primarch, or a weird boy as powerful as Magnus?
Weird boy as powerful like Magnus? Probably not. But a war boss is powerful enough to take on a Primarch? Yeah, I think so.
In the Beast, that war boss was essentially tough enough to take on the Emperor and Vulcan. So Vulcan was already regarded as one of the strongest and biggest of the Primarchs, so that's saying something.
Yep. Brandon Ottman. So we have the Primarch of the Thousand Suns, Ultramarines, and the Death Guard with us at the moment. Death Guard.
The Nurgle ones.
He's back?
Well, they're gonna redo their Space Marines, the Chaos ones.
I am seeing a pattern here. Which of the Loyalist Primarchs do you think will come back? Jagatai Khan, Corvus Corax, Conrad Kurz. The Lion.
Yeah, it's either the Lion or Leman Russ, in my opinion.
Of course, I would hope Leman Russ or Vulcan.
Vulcan, definitely.
Next question.
Strength of the Imperium. If I wanted to start a Loyalist Space Marine army, would you suggest 30k or 40k? Since it would be my first, I would like it to be easier to paint and a little cheaper. Love the videos. Well, since you want it to be cheaper, 40k.
Yeah, 30k is expensive.
Yeah, Forge World is very pricey, both points-wise and money-wise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In my opinion, 40k has the better looking models, but you're paying for it.
Yeah, so 40k, and go with a very First Company-esque army. So a lot of dreadnoughts, no, a lot of Terminators, and a lot of like smaller units.
Right, like Stern Guard and stuff like that.
Yeah, just because it's cheap. I don't know if it's all that good. Next question comes from Alberto Batris. Do you think Gilliman would join Farsight in order to save the Imperium?
If it's for the Imperium, yeah, I think he'd do anything for the Imperium. Since it's Farsight, it doesn't really hurt that much, since he's one of the good guys, or one of the less conniving, thieving, traitorous people out there. Lone Goat 81. Why does the Emperor seem to help Chaos so much? He didn't step in and try to stop Nurgle from being formed. He made one hell of an army for Chaos to take half of. He even let Horus punk him into a fight, which he lost. Not to mention all the secrecy that left his own sons in dismay. So yeah, the Emperor has effed up a lot.
Why has he messed up so much?
Yeah, I mean, he's only human.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Everybody has their flaws. I mean, if you look at everything he had on his plate, he was trying to save humanity, reconquer the galaxy, make humanity worship science, or like make science more into like
the reality.
The reality, yeah, like go away from religion. And he's trying to do all this while still, you know, keeping track of all these worlds, making sure that his Space Marines are doing what they're supposed to, guiding the Primarchs on the right path. It's a lot that he has to do. So, yes, he's gonna stumble along the way. Not everybody's perfect. I mean,
everybody makes mistakes. Yeah. Everybody has those days.
That's right.
But yeah, on top of all that, you have Chaos Gods. 4 Chaos Gods trying to destroy you. So yeah, that's probably why.
That's like what? 2 steps forward, 3 steps back?
Basically. Cause King 555. You have been summoned into the universe of 40k. Who summoned you and why? You have a warp portal. Or you do have a warp portal. So if somebody summoned us into Warhammer 40k, it's probably going to be an Inquisitor. And he summoned us because he needs our powers of the knowledge of Warhammer 40k in order to defeat probably Tzeentch.
I was going to say, he summoned us because he wants to know if we're related, if we're brothers, if we're lovers. Or all 3.
There you go.
This next one's by Dragon Punch 903. What's your favorite orc war boss? Gaskell Thraka, because he's like one of the only ones I know.
Basically, yeah.
What's that one guy that had the bike and he like drove it into a Titan and blew it up or something?
Wazdaka Godsmech. But it turns out that he is actually not a war boss. He is a big mech.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That is news to my ears.
Me too. I didn't know until I reread it. Joseph Carlo Villarreal. How do you think 40k's story will end?
It won't.
Yeah, it won't.
Yeah, it's a big money-making machine, so they're going to keep on pumping lore and stories into it forever.
But how would I like it to end?
With a kiss. Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know. Something sad, though. Something very, very sad.
Everybody dies.
Something like that.
Uncertified Jack. I read somewhere that machine spirits like Titans can get lonely and even homesick.
Horny.
But do they get horny?
Oh, okay.
I said lonely.
No, they don't, because they don't have that drive.
They don't have the drive for
reproduction, because they don't really reproduce that way. The only reason that we enjoy sex is because we need it to survive, to continue our lineage. Knights don't. El Colt. What mech from any different universe other than 40k would you add to the Tau army? Me in particular would add Jehunti from the ZOE series.
Oh yeah, Jehudi. It's basically it's like a Gundam or like a mech or robot from like this old school, I want to say PS2 game. Maybe PS3 if it got ported. But yeah, what was the question?
So what type of suit or like mech?
Ah, okay. I don't know.
I would want something steampunkish. There's a lot of like really cool,
like
gears. Like in what's that one game that's really popular right now? Overwatch. You know how in Overwatch there's this one intro video of this giant machine. He's like he's not a mech though. He's just a machine, and like he has a flashback to like.
Oh, I think you're talking about Bastion.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I guess if we're talking about Overwatch, have like a mech kind of like diva. I don't know. Give us more time to think.
Next question comes from Rule 30. This is a long one.
Ooh.
Can the Tau make Space Marines from the humans in the Tau Empire? Second, since the Dark Eldar are afraid of Slaanesh consuming them when they die, why don't the Dark Eldar try and wipe out Slaanesh worshippers across the galaxy in an attempt to weaken the thing that wants to eat them? So first, can the Tau create Space Marines and then brainwash those human Space Marines?
I don't think the Tau can create Space Marines.
Right.
So that being said, they can't brainwash.
Yeah, because if like the Imperium can't even get the necessary like blueprints of how to create Space Marines from the Adeptus Mechanicus or from anybody or the Administratum, I don't think the Tau would be able to. And then the second one, why doesn't the Tau, or why don't Eldars just destroy Slaneshi worshippers? They do.
Yeah, it's just that they're so far and few in number that it's kind of a risk if they go actively pursue them.
Yeah.
So they kind of just stay back and chill until something comes to them.
Basically. Next question.
Kronos Ken. Will Farsight... oh, my phone shifted. Do you think Commander Farsight will come back and take over the Tau? No. I think he's pretty much, I won't say happy, but he's doing what he can in his own sector of space. Because if he came back to the Tau, the Ethereals basically have him already counted as a renegade, especially now they put the blame on their Ethereal Supreme dying on Farsight. So that's basically, if he comes back, there's no way he can survive. It's going to be like the whole empire against him.
This is the last question. Wertos. Who would win if the Imperium was at its best and all Tyranid high fleets united?
Ooh.
I think, well, first of all, like all Tyranid high fleets present today in Warhammer 40k, because we don't really know how many high fleets there are in the entire universe, right?
Right.
Yeah, just the galaxy. There's like 5 high fleets?
Yeah, Kraken, Behemoth, Gorgon, and there's a bunch more.
Yeah. I really think that the Tyranids would lose against the Imperium during the Great Crusade, because the Great Crusade destroyed the greatest Orc empire in all of history, and I think the Orc empire of Olenor kind of is similar to the Tyranids in the aspect of they don't really care about dying. They just it's a giant like fight of attrition, basically.
There you go.
And I think that's what would happen. And the Tyranids, even though they can what is it called? They can adapt.
Mm-hmm.
They can't adapt to 20 Primarchs or 18 Primarchs.
Well, would the other 2 be in there?
Yeah, he said.
Oh yeah, at its prime.
At its prime, yeah. So.
Well, I guess they wouldn't count because they were found before some other ones, and they were also gone before all the Primarchs were found. So I guess it'd be the 18.
Yeah, but even 18, I think they would take it.
Mm-hmm.
Imperium.
That's right, Imperium for the win.
Those were the questions, unless you got anything else to add.
That's it. I was going to say, those were the questions, but you beat me to it.
Thank you for sending those questions our way, guys. If you want our questions, or your questions to be answered next week, comment down in the comment section below.
That's right. Don't forget to hit us up on Patreon, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook for more 40k content from yours truly. As always, I'm the Sound Alchemist.
Gersh1.
We are One Mind Syndicate, and we are out of here.
Yo, I love you. Yo.